So this message, if you guys remember a couple weeks ago, we was talking about the series, and then you know, it's going to go on and on and on and over. You know, do we really trust the Lord? Like I said, the message a couple weeks ago is about trusting Him. Do we really trust Him? And you know, there's times that I even myself, I struggle with it. And this ties in with it, and it's about faith. You know, do we have real faith, or is it artificial faith? Or do we have a slight bit of faith, but then not really when it comes to it? You know, and then the disciples struggle with it. The people who was with Jesus struggled with it, you know, and they were there. They seen His miracles happen. They seen what kind of things can happen with Jesus, and they still struggle with it. And then, you know, it talks about in there that, you know, if you have faith the size of a mustard seed. But what I realized with this is faith and believing are almost the same. So I start off with that. I went to the Greek dictionary and looked up both of these, faith and believe. So in the Greek, faith means complete confidence and trust. In the dictionary, the exact same thing. Faith, complete confidence and trust. Believe is to be confident about something. That's actually in the Greek. And then in the dictionary is absolute proof. So faith and believing are real close, you know, of being the same, no matter how we look at it. The confidence in something, or being convinced. You know, we struggle with it, and we will. Even I will. I wish we wouldn't, but it's something that our faith grows, believing grows, and it grows the more we see the Lord working in our lives, the more we see the Lord working in other people's lives. But I really, truly hope in this time, this day, and this age, that we as believers, that our faith will grow. And it says in there that it's impossible to please God without faith. Impossible. So take that for a moment and do on that. It's impossible to please God without faith. But then here we struggle on it, and even the disciples did too. So if you would, turn over to Matthew 13, 57, 58. And you guys can see that up on the whiteboard? Mm-hmm. Cool. Right. Margaret said, I'll get you a big, fat, wide marker so they can see it. I'm like, all right, cool. Tell you, but she looked out for me. Sure. So, Matthew 13, 57, 58. And it starts off, it says, well, to give a little back history, and you know, this is where Jesus gets rejected in his own hometown. You know, and again, you know, here, this is Jesus. Something else I wanted to say earlier and I forgot. We sing that song, Jesus Christ. Well, most people think that Christ is his last name. It's not. You know, Christ the Messiah, so it's Jesus the Messiah, and they say that. But anyway, this is Jesus, guys, and this is in his own hometown. Yeah, he goes to do miracles, and he hangs out, and the people that know him by their eyes and not really looking for the Messiah. He wasn't able to do any miracles there, and if he did, it was very few. So Matthew 57, it says, and they were deeply offended and refused to believe. Okay, so they refused to believe. It's not that they couldn't, it's just they refused to. Refused to believe in him. Then Jesus told them, a prophet is honored everywhere except in his own hometown and among his own family. And so he did only a few miracles. Okay, this is Jesus, the Messiah, guys. Only did a few miracles there because of their unbelief, right? Because of their unbelief. So, you know, we believe for something, but then if it's that artificial, or if we don't really believe, or we don't really have that faith, well then the miracle doesn't really work. And then something else that I've heard and I've seen with my own eyes, that you know, there's families that believe for whatever, for the cancer to go away, and it doesn't. Well, then it hurts their faith, it hurts their unbelief. But we don't really realize, or we don't see or think with our hearts. So, you know, it says, open the eyes of our hearts. So, you know, we go as humans, we see and we hear things, we hear it as human standards, human ways, and God's ways are so much more than ours that we have no idea what the actual outcome could be. Afterwards, I'll tell you guys, I can take bad situations and do it for good, but we don't have, or we don't use the ability to think about what God's outcome is. And he's got our best interest in mind. I mean, he truly does. And you guys have heard me say before that, you know, yeah, God so loved the world that he gave his son. But we have to really truly remember that God so loved the world that he created us. He gave us breath and life. Knowing that we're going to be messed up people. Knowing that we're going to have trials and struggles, and knowing that our faith is going to be tested and not 100% pure, but he still created us. And you know, like I said there a little bit ago, that even with Noah, here we are still to this day, guys. That's how loving and kind our God is. So we have no idea what the outcome can be. Still yet, whatever the outcome is, we truly have to believe that God has our best interest in mind. So whatever it comes out, whatever it may be, you know, God's still the creator of the universe. Matthew 17, if you would turn over there real quick. Matthew 17, and verse 14 through 20. 17, 14 through 20. And remember, I was saying that, you know, even his disciples struggle with this, and this is what we're going to hear about it. At the foot of the mountain, a large crowd was waiting for them. A man came and knelt before Jesus and said, Lord, have mercy on my son. He has seizures and suffers terribly. He often falls into the fire or into the water. So I brought him to your disciples, but they couldn't heal him. And Jesus said, you faithless and corrupt people, how long must I be with you? How long must I put up with you? Bring the boy here to me. Then he rebuked the demon in the boy, and it left him. From that moment, the boy was well. Okay? Afterwards, the disciples asked Jesus privately, Why couldn't we cast out the demon? And Jesus speaking, and he says, you don't have no faith. Jesus told him, I tell you the truth. If you had faith, even as small as a mustard seed, you could say to the mountain, move from here to there, and it would move. Nothing would be impossible. Okay? I want us to see here it says that you could say to the mountain. You can say to the mountain. There's times that our faith doesn't work because we're just praying about it. You know, I hear several times that you know, oh, I prayed about this and didn't see the Lord working. Well, you know, there's times that you have to speak to that. You have to speak it out loud. You have to tell the enemy. You have to tell it out loud. You know, and there's just something about it when we speak it. It just, you know, like me. Thank God the way God has made me sometimes now that I'm growing up and seeing it, but I have to hear myself. I struggle, so when I go take tests, I have to actually take my hand and I cup it by my ear like this, and I talk in as low as the sound voice as I can, because I have to hear myself talk about the questions, about the answers. If I would just close my mouth and read it, and I didn't hear what I heard. I didn't read nothing. I mean, it was going through my mind, but it wasn't nothing there. You know, so there's times we had to speak to that. Also, there's times that it takes fasting, you know, for our faith to be there. And again, you know, if it doesn't change anything. God's still the creator of the universe, and he's got some other reason why, you know, some other reason why. But again, you know, so it was a big thing here where, you know, where Jesus was telling them that you faithless and corrupt people, how much longer do I got to be here with you? How much longer do I got to, you know, coach you along and teach you these things? Because I'm not going to be here much longer. You need to get this kind of quickly because I'm not going to be here. And you guys are going to be the ones going to carry it on to the rest of the world. So, come on. You seeing it. You see me turn the water to wine. You see me raise the dead. You see me heal the crippled people. Come on. Get with it. And you know, it says it in a faithless and corrupt way, but you know daggone well Jesus was getting a little upset at him. He's like, what is this? I'm going to tell you about it, for real. So, I brought some stuff with me today to demonstrate this. So we can see it, and I can see it myself as well. And at first, starting off, it's going to be simple. Real simple, right? I don't want to do a mess. Okay, so it's going to be real simple at first. Which one's real, which one's fake? Which one's real, which one's not? Okay. Right? Be real simple. Who thinks that this one's a fake one? Okay, nobody. Who says this one is? Of course. Because we can completely see the difference of real and fake. Right? Okay. That's true. But as our faith grows, as we get more and more tests and trials, it gets more difficult. Okay? So, we get that for sure. Now, here is another one. And I could pour them out, but it wouldn't really, you really wouldn't see the difference here. So, we got sugar, and then we got more sugar. But is it really sugar? Or is it artificial sugar? Sweet and low. Okay? So which one's real, which one's not? Well, wait a minute. It is. But actually it's not. If you do artificial sweeteners, our body produces an insulin because it says, hey, you got this sugar in you, we're going to have to do something to get this sugar. And then it tricks your body and it causes more harm because it's putting insulin in there and it's really not sugar, right? So getting those sweeteners in, the artificial, same way with our faith or believing, you know, you get that artificial in there and it doesn't really work and it hurts and hinders more than it really does. Okay? Now this one, a little more difficult. I told you it's going to grow and grow and grow and grow. So these are butters, right? One's real butter and one's not. Okay, there's a commercial, organic butter, organic butter. Okay, but, you know, which one's real and which one's not? Do you say this is a real one and this is a fake one? Or do you say this is a real one and this one's a fake one? You have no idea, right? I can even turn them over and show you the labels of them and you still have no idea. So how do you tell? How do you find out which one's real and which one's not? You read the instructions, you read what's in it. The same way with us as believers, okay? We can see who's real and who's not. We all can. I'm not saying that they're liars. I'm just saying, you know, but listen, you talk a good game, but you don't seem real. So how do you really tell? You taste them, right? You taste them. Then you find out which one's real and which one's not. Okay? One is way, way out there, and the other one truly is. This one here, tell you what. Okay, which one's real and which one's not? This is peanut butter. Which one's real and which one is not? Who believes this is a real one? Who believes this one? Okay, you believe this one's the fake one? This one's the real one? All right. Man, did I get a big eye opener and a mouthful and a taste of it, and I about yacked. I mean yacked. So I walked past this thing, and man, I didn't even. It was there. It was open. I looked at it, and I'm like, woo-wee! All right. And I got me a big old spoon, man. I was like, what in the? What was that? Man, I mean, it wasn't what my taste buds were telling me it was. And then from that day, that's when that message came. It hit me. So I was so wanting the real thing, and then when I got it in my mouth, it wasn't. It wasn't. And you know, well, okay. So it's going to speak to me, and maybe it's just me, but it's going to speak to me. When they see it on the sandwich, they're going to think it's real peanut butter. They're going to think it is. Okay? When you eat that, it doesn't, and it's not. But it keeps them from getting sick, keeps them from having allergic reactions and allergies. But who's to say that wow butter ain't got somebody else allergic to that, right? They don't have no idea. They don't test that part of it. You know. So I asked Margaret. I said, "Go get me a real one and give me one that's not." Right? Okay. We can see now which one is, which one ain't. But when I open these up, you can look at them. They look exactly the same. They don't taste the same. I'm telling you, they don't taste the same. And that's the same way with us, guys. And all of us. Not just here, but all the believers. Okay? They get a bad report from the doctor. Okay? You get a bad report from the doctor, and he tells you, we know this is stage 1. Okay? We're going to have to send you to go get other tests. You're going to have to go do this, and this. And instantly, I've seen believers right off the bat. Instantly. Oh my goodness, this is it for me. I'm done. I'm out. And you know, they automatically count their life, yeah, gone, done for. And it's like, well, no, that ain't what Jesus says. That's not what Jesus says. So I think about that with, I'm going to go with VeggieTales, guys. Okay? When the boss puts the VeggieTale guys, Shaq, Rack, and Benny, when he puts them in there, he tells them, you know, turn up the heat. Turn up the heat. Okay, what do we think about when he turns up the heat? We think about they just turned up the heat. I mean, it's really furnace. It burnt these people. But what if it's not what it's meaning? What if it is meaning that, okay, you're praying, you're believing, you're asking the Lord, and you go back to the doctor, and it's got worse. Well, it just turned up the heat, right? It just turned it up. Because now you're like, I prayed, I believed, I thought you was going to heal me, Lord, and I'm not. Here I am going to the doctor, and it's not. I've got this, and this, and oh man, I'm going to have to go through all this. Well, look, man, I'm all for the doctors, and I'm all for them doing things to help us out. But that's not what Jesus says about me, and I'm not going to stand on that. Story. I had this mole on my face, and I had it years, and it got to the point where it was getting really bad and oozing, and I mean it was bad. And I went to the doctor, and they cut it off my face, and he says, "Hey, I'm going to send it off to get it tested." I'm like, "I don't care what you do with it, buddy. I don't want to know. I do not want to know about it." Well, why? I said, "Cause I don't want to steal my peace. I don't want to steal my joy." Yeah, it might be. It might be. I don't know. And he's like, "Well, but that's bad medicine." I said, "Dude, I'm looking. I don't care. If you want to send it off and you want to test it and you want to know what it is, that's fine. Go for it. Have at it. Don't tell me about it, man. No, I don't want to know about it." And so, you know, I have fought with them for a couple of years over this, to where they still want to send me the information and tell me what it is. And I don't care if it is or it ain't. You know what I mean? I'm not going to be here as long as the Lord tells me I'm going to be here anyway. Period. I don't care what they try to do, what they think they can do. When the Lord says it's time for you to come home, man, ain't nothing going to stop it. Right? Same way with when the Lord tells you that you're going to be here, there ain't nothing you can do about it. Now, I believe that there's things that, the enemy can rob us, and we can do things that makes us leave this world earlier. But when you have those things coming, even if it is or it ain't, what did it change? Who my God is? Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. I'm either going to be here and enjoy life to the fullest, the best way I can, with Him, through Him, to Him, or Satan takes me out, or life takes me out, and then I really get to go be with Him. Oh boy. Oh man. I dream about that day, and I really hope that in the spiritual way that we can get there, and we can just here, devil, tell you something. Well, you try to take me out so many years. Here I am now. I get to come down here and face you one time, and the Lord probably won't give me that privilege, but you'd be all right to do it, though. I sure would. So Romans 10:17. Romans 10:17. Romans 10:17. Okay. So faith comes from hearing. That is, hearing the good news about Christ. But I ask, have you people of Israel actually heard the message? Yes, they have. The message has gone throughout the earth, and the words to all the world. Okay? So, faith comes by hearing. Yeah, it's the Bible. Sure it is. You know, when you hear this and you read through the scripture, there's something in us that it picks up in it, and we hear it. But also, what I think it's meaning is hearing our testimonies. What has God done for you? And when these great things come, and you get excited about it, and you tell others about it, it does something to them, you know, because it picks up their faith, their belief, their hope. Because it's like, you know, if God done it for you, He can do it for me. If God done it for you, He can do it for me. And that's why we're supposed to share our testimonies. And you can ask Dave, when the Lord blessed us with that dog blood, everybody that I came in contact heard about that dog, didn't they, Dave? Dave heard that story, I don't know, probably as many times. But I was just so stoked over it, you know, and the Lord continues to this day to use that dog as a testimony. And it was truly something else. Now, you know, and another one, the pastor came to our house, right? I mean, we live on a dead-end road, no one else there, and the pastor came there. And the exact way that spoke it out loud, you know, here it happens, here it is, comes to our house. And then, you know, our trip to Haiti, and it's like, well, I'm not going to Haiti, ain't no way, not happening, not going to do it. And then Margaret was telling me that, well, maybe, you know, the reason why they didn't go is because we were supposed to go and we didn't. And I'm like, well, listen, you know, if the Lord really wants me to go there, He's going to have to make it 100% clear that He's wanting this. I mean, 100%. And it wasn't shortly afterwards, someone come up to us.
I think.
Someone come up to us and they were like, listen, we want to pay for your all's passport to go to Haiti. And I'm like, man, I guess we're going to Haiti. Lord, I don't really want to. I sure didn't. You know, didn't have hardly no money because the IRS caught up with me, and the child support was catching up with me, and didn't really have no money on a paycheck. And then it was still believing the Lord that I'm gonna give anyway, Lord. I'm gonna give, because you know, what am I gonna do with $40 or $80? And I ain't gonna make it. And by the end of the service, or right after service, or whatever, I mean, there's been different, like, someone would bless us with money to get us through that week. I mean, it's just on and on and on. And it got to being so much was happening, and I was telling others around me, but I wasn't hearing nothing in return, and it put a damper on me, because it was like, you know, I'm nobody. I'm just an old hillbilly man living out here, and spoke this for so many times that, you know, I'm just a dumb old hillbilly. Well, no, I'm not. Might still be a hillbilly, but I'm not dumb. Well, there's certain things that I can do that I can't do as good as others, but vice versa. But I got to a message, and afterwards, someone come up to me and is like, well, how do you destroy the works of the devil? By the blood of the Lamb and the word of your testimony. So, you know, don't let the devil get you quiet and keep you quiet, because you're robbing somebody. You're robbing somebody. Okay. So we're going to hear it. You're going to hear it from the Bible. You hear it from others. People that have never read the Bible, how are they supposed to hear about Jesus? How are they supposed to get any type of faith? How are they supposed to get any belief? They hear from you. They hear from you. Dude, I don't know if you know it or not, but you know, we pray for you in your job situation, and Lord bless you with another job. So I'm so thankful. I'm so thankful. You get to be home at certain times. You get to come to church and sometimes. Yeah. But, you know, the Lord wants to do those things. He wants to bless us. And so just don't forget about the blessings and the testimony that do come, because you give Him glory. So if you would, let's turn over here real quick. Hebrews 11:1. Hebrews 11:1. Oh, 11. Not 1:11. I picked it up backwards myself and I did it. 11:1. Hebrews 11:1. It says, faith shows the reality of what we hope for. It is the evidence of things we cannot see. Through our faith, the people in the days of old earned a good whatever. By faith, we understand that the entire universe was formed at God's command, and that we now see did not come from anything else that can be seen. Whew, butchered that one. Even if it doesn't happen, don't let it change or hurt your faith, because God has a reason for it. Okay? Turn back to 1 Corinthians. I'm trying to get through because we're almost out of time. 1 Corinthians 2:5. You may not be able to keep up with turning there now, but you're going to hear it. I did this so you would trust not in human wisdom, but in the power of God. Okay? 2 Corinthians 2:5. 2 Corinthians 5:7. 2 Corinthians 5:7. Or for we live by believing, and not by seeing. So both of those go to hand in hand. If we rely on human wisdom, there's no faith there, because all we're doing is seeing it. And it says we walk by faith, not by sight. When you know the whole world tells you not to go on vacation because there ain't no gas down there, you're not going to make it, you're not going to get back, and it's like, well, I never heard the Lord tell me that. And you know, the Lord knows each and every one of us, and He knows how to talk to us in our own special, unique way. You know, some people get audible, and other people get billboards, and other people get little nuggets here and there. How I get it is I'll ask about something, or I'll talk about something, and then I'll hear somebody else say something about that. Or I'll be listening to the radio and it'll have something in it, and it's like, oh, okay, God, I'm picking up on what you're putting down now. I mean, I hear you. And I never heard the Lord tell me not to go down south because there ain't no gas. So it's like, that's walking by faith, not by sight. Because everything else that you watch on the news, or everything everybody's saying that, oh man, you ain't gonna get no gas, you ain't gonna make it, don't do that. Well, if you listen to that and you stay on that, you just got robbed. The devil just stole from you. You know, same way with the past 2020 there, you know. It's like, oh no, you ain't gonna make it, you're not gonna live. Like, listen, you might not, but I am. I'm not believing that. You know, I'm not believing that. Okay, even if it does, I still win. You know, I get to go home to the Lord. So, okay, so here's what I was getting at. That's why I had to go so quick. 1 Peter 1:7. 1 1 Peter 1:7. 1 Peter 1:7. And it says, these trials will show that your faith is genuine. It is being tested as fire tests pure gold. Through your faith is far more precious than any gold. So when your faith remains strong through trials, it will bring you much praise and glory and honor on the day that Jesus Christ is revealed to the whole world. And that's where I wanted to get at. That when these trials, these tribulations, these tests come our way, your faith is being tested. And God wants to know who's genuinely going to trust in Him. Period. We can say it, and He knows our heart.